What's up, brother? Welcome to Trust Me, Bro. How you doing tonight?
Good, my brother. How you doing?
Pretty good. Can't complain. I
Nice.
finished 3-1 on the weekend. One of them came right down to the wire as I was texting you about 10, 15 minutes ago. I was down by 0.3 with under 2 minutes left to go in the game, and sure enough, DJ Moore caught one more for me. Ended up
Ooh,
going 114
love
yards
it,
and
brother.
I don't know, like 11 catches, something like that. So that
Yep.
put me up over the top. So I love those nail biters when I come out, on top. So
Yeah, for sure, man. DJ, one more.
yep, exactly. Yeah, I
That's
couldn't
awesome,
believe
brother.
it. So
Nice,
yeah,
man. Nice. Well, unfortunately, Justin Fields sucked up the whole field tonight for me, so
yep.
wasn't able to squeak one out. So I ended up going 2-2.
Okay. Yeah, what did you need
What a
from
pisser.
Justin? Like
I need
25
like
points or something like that?
27. Yeah. I mean,
27? Okay.
yeah, he could do it, but what the hell was that game plan tonight, man? Let me just
Yeah, man.
throw it for -1 yards and then see what the receiver could do all night long, man. It was
Yep.
about as frustrating a football you can watch.
Yeah, I think that's the coach right there. Eberfluss or whatever the hell that guy's name is, man.
Yeah,
It's
man.
not good.
I don't know.
Trash.
I don't know, but whatever. On we
Yeah,
go. Two and
exactly. On we
two.
go.
One in the two leagues I definitely needed a win in. So
Yep. Nice. Yeah, I mean, the one that I just barely won tonight, I mean, my back's against the wall on that one. I think I was like
um,
5-6, through 11 weeks, and then that puts me at 6-6. So if I
yeah,
didn't win that, I mean, it would pretty much be, win out or, anyway. I will probably my chances of going to the playoffs would have been a lot lower if I had not pulled that miracle off just now. So,
nice. Congrats, brother.
yep.
Outstanding.
Yeah,
Well done.
thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Love it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
finished 2-2 the last 2 weeks, and I remember last week you were 3-1. So finally, luck
Yep.
turned to my side this time.
There you
Finally.
go. There you go.
So, yep.
Nice.
Yes,
Nice, man.
sir.
Well, what you
All
got
right.
for us, man? How we looking? What we looking
Oh
like out
man,
there?
it's a barren wasteland out there on the waiver wire, my brother.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, slim pickings, man. At this point in the season, man, it's tough to have anybody that I highly recommend. I mean, I wrote down some names, and I'm not necessarily confident really in most of them,
Yeah,
but this is a waiver wire show, and so that's what we're here to do. We've
yeah.
got,
We're here to give it our best shot, brother. And I
yep,
mean, yeah, you're right. It really feels like this year is there's just a huge divide line between those that produce
hmm
and those that just you know
yeah,
if you want 8 points, I got tons of names for you.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. There's just a
Yeah,
handful of guys, yeah, that are your consistent rainmakers, that are going to
yeah,
just, win you these matchups week after week. But yeah, unless you
yep,
got, some of these guys, yeah, you're just hoping for a miracle or, grasping at straws, right?
yeah,
So,
yep,
all right. So I'll start us off with quarterback. I wrote down Matt Stafford. I think you might have talked
yeah,
about him last week.
yep,
Plays for the Rams, only 48% owned on the Yahoo side, so just underneath our threshold. In week 12, he had 229 passing yards and 3 for 4 touchdowns. So it's the 4 touchdowns that got my attention there. He had a odd game. I think 2 of those were to Higbee, and then the other 2 were to Kyron Williams, which I'm excited about the Kyron Williams
hell
ones, but
yeah.
yeah, he balled out. But
He balled out for me, man. I played him.
yep,
All the
nah,
trust in the
me
world in that
too.
guy, and boom, let's go. Um,
Yeah, same
yeah, I
here.
had him down too, man. Same thing, same stats, but he's got Cleveland coming up, and Cleveland showed some weaknesses last week.
Yeah.
They were able to be passed on a little bit. He's got Baltimore
hmm
coming up after that, but get past those two, man. He's got Washington, New Orleans, and the Giants, depending on when your fantasy season ends. If it ends week 17 or 18.
Yeah.
San Fran in week 18. So he's got
Right.
some favorable matchups once you get past these next two games.
Yeah.
And hey, we'll see what happens with Myles Garrett. He had
Right.
a shoulder injury that was really hampering him. He couldn't even lift his arm.
Okay.
In this last
Huh.
game. So that if he's out, Cleveland
Yeah.
could be a more favorable matchup too.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I've been rolling with the Cleveland defense in my work league and just kind of been a set and forget. And then I was looking over the results today, and I noticed that they gave up 29 points. So yeah,
Yeah,
there's some kinks in the armor there on the
yeah,
Cleveland D. So they're not quite as, I don't know. I'm starting to wonder about them. And anyway, yeah. So I might have to look elsewhere on the
yeah.
waiver wire. How did the Ravens D do for you? Did they only allowed what 10
No,
points
they
last
did
night
good,
to
man.
the
Yeah, I think they
Chargers?
got me about
Okay.
16, 17 points, so
Okay.
they were
There you
pretty
go.
solid. Yeah, that was good. That was a
Nice.
good call, man. You're becoming the defense whisperer.
Right?
If I'm
Yeah, you're
the
the
tight end or kicker,
tight end and kicker whisperer. Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah,
yeah,
definitely
I've been
making those good
streaming.
calls.
Yep. So,
Cool. Yeah, I had Stafford down too, brother.
okay.
Recycled that name from last week, and I'm recycling Jordan Love again, man. It's time to start feeling the love for Jordan Love.
Yeah. Yeah.
48% owned in ESPN, 268 for 3 tutties. Again, what he's got coming up is KC, who's a little bit tougher on defense, but get
Hmm.
ahead, get some of that garbage time also. I think that's going to be there. And then he's got the Giants, Tampa Bay, Carolina, and Minnesota. So,
Yeah.
Minnesota played pretty tight tonight, but man, that game plan was just freaking trash. So,
Hmm.
um, you get somebody that can throw the ball down the field and throw it more than a yard.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more possibility there. But some good games coming up, and he's starting to hit pretty good. Receivers are starting to look pretty good. So I think there's some upside for Jordan Love. I think he's going to be replacing Jordan Fields in my lineup.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm actually going to go look for him on the waiver wire tomorrow in a league where I picked up Baker. Because that's the league where I've got Justin Fields and he's on bye
Yeah,
next week, and so I need a fill in, and so I might just drop Baker and go with
yeah,
Love against KC. I
I
don't know.
would, I would.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll probably do that
Yeah,
then. So yeah, he'd be good
cool.
to pick up, and who knows? He may end up sticking around in my starting spot if Fields keeps playing like this. So
I mean that's the switch I'm going to make.
yeah,
Like
okay.
Fields has that upside to give 47 points, but I can't take this downside of 8 or 9 points.
No, no, we need
You
a
know,
comfortable floor of
yep,
20, and then a ceiling of 45.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
cool. That's all I had for quarterbacks. How about you?
yeah. Same goes. I just wrote down Stafford. All right. So for running backs, my first up is Samaji P. Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
For the
Yeah,
Broncos. Only 20% owned. So weeks 11 and 12. So mind you, this is 2 weeks combined. He only rushed for 8 times for 62 yards and a touchdown, but he also caught the ball 8 times on 8 targets for 71 yards. And so he's been good for double-digit fantasy points the past 2 weeks. So
yeah,
he might be a decent fill-in if you need. I mean, Broncos have been turning it on lately. They've been doing pretty good. So
yeah. I had him down too, man. I completely agree. It really does feel like this time of year is when Samaji P. Ryan kind of starts coming on
mhm.
and
Yeah.
making kind of the name for himself that's kept him in the league this long. So yeah, man, I think he's good. He's had a couple games of double digits. Whether
Hmm.
he's catching the ball or rushing the ball, it's just a matter of time before he finds the end zone. I mean, you remember that game when um, um, now I'm totally blank. Mixon went out and
Yeah.
Samaje came
Oh
in and
yeah.
scored like 3 touchdowns and
Hmm.
had 10 catches and whatever. I mean, he scored like 30 something points that game. So
Oh yeah.
you know,
Yeah. He was
yeah,
fantastic last year. Yeah, when
yeah,
Mixon went down.
yep. I think we were talking about him last year
Hmm. Yep.
about this
Yeah.
about this time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
man, I
right.
totally agree with that. One I had written down was Keaton Mitchell. I'm going to recycle him. 31%
Hmm.
owned. Does seem like Baltimore's starting to get the message that this kid's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, love that he's a former player's son. He went 9 for
Hmm.
64, another 2 catches for 25. Got a bye coming up, so that's a little bit of a downside there. But he's got the Rams, who kind of middle of the pack, against the run. Got Jacksonville, who's a little tough against the run coming up, and then San Fran again,
Hmm.
a little tough. So, he's got a little bit
Yeah.
tougher of a schedule coming up with a bye, and then I feel like he can get some damage done against the Rams. But it only takes one pop for 60 yards and a tutty to make it worth your time. So,
Yeah.
um, He's somebody I think I would target.
Yeah, yeah, I totally feel the same way. I've liked Keaton Mitchell all season, and it's the usage that I'm starting to see tick up lately
Yep.
that is encouraging. Because I've always kind of, taken a wait and see approach with this guy, but now that I'm seeing the usage, it get to a relatively decent situation. I think it was
Yeah.
41% he was used last time, so I think he'd be good.
Yeah. I totally agree. Totally agree, man. Well, that's 2 running backs I had down. Do you have anybody else?
Yeah, one more. Royce Freeman with the Rams, and I know Keaton Mitchell's back, and it's his show now, but he's only 13% owned, and so in weeks 12 and 13, I'm sorry, week 12, he had 13 carries for 77 yards and a touchdown, and so it looks like they kind of want to spell uh, Kyron a little bit here. So it looks like I think they cut the other guy,
Yeah.
Henderson. So
Yep.
I think
We'll
Royce
send him
might be.
packing.
Yeah, so Royce might be a decent, whenever uh, he needs a breather, whenever Kyron needs a breather, Royce Freeman, I don't know. He could be still decent.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's
All
barren
right.
out there. So these are the only two guys I even found that I thought would be worth mentioning. So,
Yeah. Hey, I'm with you, man. He's kind of been there all season, and we'll see.
yeah,
You know.
exactly. So
Yeah.
that's it. I'm fresh out of
Cool.
running backs. Anything else?
That's it. That's all I've got on
Nope.
running backs, man. On to wide
All right.
receivers.
All right. Hit me up with your first wide receiver, brother.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna pull a name out of the hat
Mm-hmm.
due to the fact that Kyler Murray's back, and that's Greg Dortch. He is
Yeah.
0.3% owned.
Mm-hmm.
He got 3 of his 9 targets, which
Yeah.
I didn't see a whole lot of the game. I don't know how quality of targets those were, but he got 3 of them
Mm-hmm.
for 27 yards in the tutty. He had 17 targets in the last 2 games since Kyler Murray's been back.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he's been double digits in the last 2. Kyler Murray
Mm-hmm.
seems to like him. He's
Yep.
somebody that I think you can kind of plug in there and expect 10 plus points out of on a weekly
Yeah.
basis.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree. We saw flashes of him last season. When some key guys were out in the Cardinals lineup, he was always like the guy that would step up. And so, yeah, similar to Curtis Samuel, like that type of production.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it
Yep.
could be a good one. I took a look at him too, and I think it was the targets that caught my attention too. So,
Yeah.
good pickup. Yeah, I like it. All right, I'm going to go back to ODB with the Ravens, only 49% owned on the Yahoo side. And so he had double digit fantasy points in 3 of the last 4 games. And he also has an easy schedule. And so, like you said earlier, the Ravens are on bye in week 13. So you can't use them this coming week. But if it's somebody that, if you got them extra roster space, somebody to pick up and stash and see where he goes, because he's got an easy schedule, the
Yeah.
rest of the way. So,
Yeah. And I don't know what of those rest of the games are night games. It just seems like
yeah.
he really tries to perform,
Mm-hmm.
with the spotlight on him. So,
Yeah.
especially in those games, he's worth a roster pick in a play.
Yep. Totally agree.
Yep. Yep. Cool, man. Well, I've had one that you brought up a couple times. That's Jaden Reed, 31% owned on the ESPN side. Went 4 for 8 targets, 34 yards and a tutty. He's been double digits the last 3 games.
Yeah.
With Jordan Love starting to get it figured out and starting to come on a little bit, Jaden Reed comes right along with him. I think he's one that if I needed to plug in a wide receiver to hopefully get me anywhere from 12 to 20 points, he's your dude.
Yeah, totally agree, brother. I had him written down as well. He was my number 2 to talk about, and so yeah, you covered that one perfectly. I like Jaden Reed still. He's a good option for you.
Yep.
All right,
Yes,
the last one.
sir.
We got one more wide receiver for us. I just mentioned his name a second ago. Curtis Samuel for the
Hmm.
Redskins, only 28% owned. In week 12, he saw 12 targets, caught 9 of them for 100 yards.
Yeah.
So that's that's pretty. That was on Thanksgiving, so that's pretty solid. 12 targets. Can't snooze on that, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, is he going to do
Yeah,
that every game? I don't know. He's kind of fallen off the map here lately. He started off strong, fell off the map. So I don't know. But this recent usage, if that's a thing, if that's a trend of things to come, might be worth a look.
and I mean the Cowboys have one of the better pass defenses. Top
Yep.
3.
Yeah.
So in those matchups where Washington's going against somebody with a strong defense, a couple of good corners or whatever, I think he's a good
Hmm.
play. He's kind
Yeah.
of that, 1, 2's covered. All right, I'm going to 3.
Right.
And Hal seems to be kind of moving off his reads and, reading to what's open. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's where you're seeing his production is where, a couple of the other guys, wow, am I totally blank? I got
Scary
Dortch,
Terry.
yeah, Scary
Yeah.
Terry, and then Dotson.
Yeah.
Um,
Dodson. Yeah.
those 2 dudes are covered. Boom,
Hmm.
Curtis Samuel's right there. Working from
Yep.
the slot. So, um, yeah, man, I think that's where his production comes from. So I would look at when he's playing some stronger defenses against the pass, he might be a good
Yeah.
play for you.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's the
Yeah,
key. That's a good point you brought up there.
yeah,
Look for him against tough defenses, maybe like San Fran or
yeah,
some of the. But he's got a quarterback who throws the ball 45, 50 plus times a
exactly.
game. So
Yep.
with that kind of volume out there, I mean, it's a chance he'll be catching a few of those.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure,
yeah,
brother. Well, I just have one more. This is the one we talked about.
okay,
It's just a little bit over the line. 51% owned is Rashid Rice.
yeah,
This guy went 8 catches out of 10 targets, 107 yards and a tutty.
nice.
I mean, man, outside of Kelsey,
Hmm.
it seems like everybody that um, Mahomes is throwing the ball to, they're dropping the ball. It's like
Yeah.
half drops. Number 84, whatever that tight end is, but he's had a few catches. But Rashid Rice is the only guy who seems to really be
Hmm.
kind of emerging in there as somebody who can consistently catch the ball, consistently get down the field. So,
Right.
I think he might have a good, strong rest of the season. Kind of lead you
Yeah.
through your playoffs.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is like his first, mini breakout game.
Yep.
Like you just said, triple digit yardage and a touchdown. Good targets. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think that his usage was a product of how badly they lost the game before this. When Skankling, just couldn't, the one against the Eagles, when Skankling just couldn't come down with it,
Yeah.
and I think that they're just thinking to themselves, all right, well, who can we throw to? It's Rashid Rice and it's Kelsey, and that's really it.
That's
So
it,
those
man.
two guys, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Skankling was wide open in the end zone on Sunday,
yeah,
and Mahomes is
yep,
like, "Yeah, no, I'm gonna throw to somebody
right,
else. I might run it
yeah.
myself. Screw you, man. Like
Uh-huh.
I'm done."
Exactly.
Yeah,
If he could just put some
yeah,
heat on it and have it hit that one little part of his face mask where it
yeah.
just sticks in.
Stick it in there.
Right. So he don't even have
Yeah,
to catch it. Just,
yeah, yeah. I wish I
yeah.
can go back and just really highlight that play because I watched it this weekend. And it
Hmm.
was like he just totally said he looked at me and said, "No,
Nah, no thanks.
yeah,
No, thank you.
not
No,
again,
we've
brother."
done this. No
Yeah,
way. Not again.
yeah.
All right. So let's move on to tight ends. Got any other no more wide
No,
receivers, right? Okay.
I'm done. Tight end
Okay.
time, brother.
All right. So I wrote down two tight ends, and
Okay.
they're, it's kind of a wish and a prayer, but Pat Fryermuth for the Steelers,
Yep.
48% owned, just happens to be underneath our threshold. In week 12, he saw 11 targets, caught 9 of them for 120 yards. So that kind of usage, I mean, man, that's just really good. You
Yeah.
know,
100% agree,
he
man. That's the
just
only
came
tight
back,
end I had
right?
written down.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just came back, and they fired their offensive coordinator. Got to get some things going. Yeah, man.
Hmm.
I think that's a good pick. I think that's a good pick for weeks to come. I didn't really write down what they've got coming up on the schedule and how they are against tight ends, but
Yeah.
Farmer's always been pretty decent. He's kind of
Hmm.
been there, been somebody to target, been somebody to look at. So um, from what's out there, he's one of the better
Yeah.
tight ends on the free agency market.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So that's the only one you wrote down as well? Okay.
Yep.
And so I also wrote down Higby for the Rams, only 39% owned, just because his performance was pretty good here. Caught
Yeah.
He was targeted 5 times, caught all 5 of them for only 29 yards, but 2 touchdowns. So I don't know. I mean, are we going to see that production consistently? I doubt it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
If you're just completely desperate and your tight end happens to be on a bye this coming week, or and Firemouth is gone. I mean, he might be worth a look, but
Yeah.
definitely not something you want to hold on to long term.
I know, man. I looked at him too. I I looked at him. I looked at some of the others that kind of produced this week, but
Yeah.
I saw 5 targets or 5 catches and 2 touchdowns, and he only scored 17 points. I'm like,
Right. Yeah.
without those touchdowns, garbage.
Hmm.
We're not talking
Yeah.
about him. So,
Right.
um, I don't know. I kind of stayed away. I agree, though. Like there's been times where Higby's gone on little runs, and he's been a
Hmm.
decent tight end, get y'all excited, and then he'll drop a
Yeah.
goose egg on you, and then
Yep.
he's back on the waiver wire. So yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, I agree, man. I mean, for what there is out there in tight ends, like what are you gonna do, man? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you got to
That's all
take a
we got.
swing. Yep, that's all we got.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. All
All
right.
right,
So
man. We ready?
let's move on to the second installment of our special. We did studs last time. Now it's time to move on to duds for Festivus. And so here's the graphic right here. And so
Bring it closer. Bring it closer, brother.
I've got a lot of problems with you people, and now you're going to hear about it. Frank Costanza,
Frank Costanza.
the Festivus.
Yeah. Love
Yeah.
it.
So we don't have a a
Our producer's
producer,
out of
or
town, man. Yeah, he's been out of town
yeah,
this whole time.
we don't have a budget or viewers or anything like that. So what I got. All right. So now it's time to talk about the fantasy players that disappointed us. So let's go. We'll just do back and forth like we did last time
Okay.
for the
Perfect.
studs. So
Perfect.
go ahead and start us off, brother.
Yeah, I got one. His name is George Pickens.
Yep.
This guy
Gonna
was
pick on Pickens.
hyped,
Yeah.
hyped all the way through preseason. Bought
Mm-hmm.
in, watching him make one-handed catches, watching him make amazing catches. Got the build, got the look. Quarterback sucks.
Yep.
Offense
That's
sucks.
it. Yeah.
Not George Pickens' fault. George Pickens,
Mm-mm.
you're watching. You're a great receiver. You
Yeah.
need to get your ass on a better team because
Uh-huh.
this team is garbage, man. He's only had 4 double-digit weeks this week, and a couple of those were maybe 10, 11
Yeah.
points. He's gone off for maybe one game this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So he's found a nice warm spot on my bench.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. The talent is there, man. It's unmistakable.
Yep.
I mean, he's a
Yeah.
very talented guy. He just needs to get the hell out of Pittsburgh, or
Yeah.
Pittsburgh needs to find himself a quarterback, one of the two.
Exactly.
But
Yep.
yeah, it's just talent's going to waste up there, kind of like
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson this year with the Jets.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, my first one was Cooper Kupp, wide receiver.
Yeah.
Supposedly plays wide receiver for the Rams. He's had 5 straight games with 7 or less fantasy points per game. So yeah, just not his season, man. He
Nope.
was injured the first 4 games, and then came back, did really good his first 2 games out, and then just put up nothing but stinkers, 5 stinkers in a row. I can't start him. He's on my bench, and maybe he might even be what I consider like a waiver wire grenade. You know what I mean? You just want to throw it out there, and somebody's going to grab him because of the name wire, the name recognition, and play him, and then they're going to get a 3, just like I did. I don't know. We'll see.
I know, man. It sucks, dude. It's like, what happened to that playbook they had last year?
Yeah.
Or maybe even the year before. Last year, I think he was hurt a little bit too, but no, he was pretty solid last year, at least when he came back. So I don't know. I'm with you, man. I can't figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can't figure it out. Evidently, Poop is the new guy, and Cooper Kupp is gone.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, man, I got Tony Pollard on my list, and he's actually been somewhat decent in the last couple games, but still 4
Hmm.
tutties all season
That's it.
in
Yeah.
3 games. One game he had the first game of the season he had 2 tutties. After that, he has not seen the end zone
Mm.
except 2 more times. So,
Yeah.
5 single-digit games this year. He's just not what I expected out of Tony Pollard. I expected when I drafted him to be 15 to 20 solid every single game with the upside of 30 to 40.
Yep. Totally agree.
That's what I drafted.
Yeah, me too. I drafted him in
Yeah.
2 leagues. I'm equally frustrated. I mean, he did look pretty good this last game or two, but yeah, definitely not. We drafted him at the 1-2 turn. Either into
Yeah.
the first round
Yeah.
or early second round. expecting somebody who's gonna deliver the mail and show up in the
Yep.
fantasy stats column. But yeah, has not lived up to his draft pedigree at all.
Yeah. So
So,
far, he's been the mailman from Funny Farm.
yep. Yeah,
Yep.
not good. All right, next up is Jackson Smith Najigba, wide receiver for the Seahawks. And so he's had 8 single-digit Sam games this season. And so, that's another guy that just landed in a bad spot. I think he's got
Yeah.
a ton of talent. We saw that talent at Ohio State. And I think if he would have landed on a different team where he's the number 1 or maybe even the number 2, it would have
Yeah.
worked out a little differently. But I don't know. It's just he hasn't been able to excel in the Seattle offense. Plus, his quarterback isn't having the year that he
Yeah.
had last year. So
Yeah.
just a
That's for sure.
mix of yeah, mix of bad circumstances for the guy. So
Yeah. I agree, man. I mean, kept him on my squad this whole time, but really haven't. Only in a pinch was when I've thrown him in.
yeah,
I don't know, losing hope in him this year. Next year,
me
maybe
too.
totally different story, but losing hope this year.
Yeah,
I'm
we,
with you,
we were
man.
too early on him. I remember you told me about a player a few years ago that I was a little too early on. I think we were just too early on him.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
But we've seen some players like to do really really well their rookie, especially wide receivers to do really well their rookie year. But this one just didn't quite pan out. So
Yeah, what is it, like 50-50, something like that?
mhm.
Jamar Chase. Last
Yeah,
year he was dropping every pass in preseason. Everybody passed him
yeah,
on him in the draft. And all of a sudden, the dude's one of the best receivers in the league. So
yep.
it's hard to call those. Um, yeah, I've got DJ Moore has really been pissing me off this year. I got a lot of
Hmm.
problems with him,
Yeah.
and it's not so much DJ Moore. It has a lot more to do with Justin Fields and Matt Eberflus. Like
Right.
it's the Bears' offensive problem. DJ Moore's a great receiver, but
Yeah.
6 games of single digits. He got you what you needed
Hmm.
tonight, but man, he
Yeah.
probably left a few people short too. Um,
Oh yeah.
so
Yeah.
he does the best he can with what he's got, but as a fantasy player, it's just hard to start.
Yeah, and DJ Moore has got all the talent. He's just never really had a consistent quarterback. I mean,
Yeah,
when he played in Carolina, I mean, he had, what was that guy? Sam something or
Sam
other. I
Darnold,
forget.
yeah,
Sam
yeah,
Darnold, yeah.
yeah.
And they just had like this other carousel of loser,
Hmm.
uh, quarterbacks. So,
Yep,
yeah, but I think if he can get consistent quarterback play out of Justin Fields, he'll turn it around and do fine. But
yeah, I agree.
that's a big if, you know.
Yep.
So, all right. Next up is Amari Cooper, wide receiver for the
Yeah,
Browns. He's had 5 single-digit Sam games, and 2 of them were these 2 most recent games.
yeah,
So yeah, just not looking good. I mean, same thing, victim of inconsistent quarterback play
same thing. Yeah,
ever since Watson went down. I mean, he had some flashes, some good 20-point plus games with Watson, but without Watson, it just ain't happening. So
yeah,
yep,
yep. 100% agree, man. Great receiver, bad situation.
yep, yeah,
Makes for a hard fantasy play.
exactly.
Um, yeah, man, I got one that this guy may not really see the field much next year, and that's Justin Fields. Um,
Hmm.
he's been a utter disappointment. Outside of sure he had a thumb injury, but
Yeah.
This dude just can't figure it out. Like, he just cannot figure
Right.
it out. Like,
Yeah.
that game plan tonight was the most, dumbed down first start from a rookie that you found off the street type of game plan.
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
just throw it over there to that guy and throw it over there to that guy. And, it was
Mhm.
awful. It was terrible. They have no confidence in him. He has no confidence in himself. Fumbled 2 or 3
Yeah.
times tonight. Like, he's not good, man. I think he's done. I'm done with him.
Yeah. You gonna
Talked
drop
about
him?
earlier. Jordan Love's in the spot. I'm gonna hang on.
Yeah.
Like, there was a
Mhm.
time last year where he started off just completely awful, and then started running the ball, started running for
Yeah.
147 yards a game, which he absolutely can do. And that's
Mhm.
probably what they should do. Like, just let him line up. You go run for 100 and something yards, and then throw it every now and then too. Like,
Yeah.
that's what he is.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
not a
He's a running back who can throw the football.
yeah.
You know.
If you got him sitting in the
Yeah.
pocket, you're an idiot.
Mhm.
You
Right.
know.
I totally agree. Yeah. I've you know been a little smitten with him lately as well. So yeah. I mean,
Yep.
I had him going starting tonight. I think he got me like 7 or 8 points, something like that. But I was up so high in that matchup. I didn't really need anything from him. He could have got me 0 as long as he didn't give me like -7. I would have been just fine.
Dude,
So
I think there's like 4 or
yeah.
5 or more kickers on the waiver wire that I could put in my
Hmm.
offensive player spot and get more points than Justin Fields.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
That's
true.
terrible.
Yeah. That's not good. Not
That's
good.
not good,
You
bro.
should no, not good. No, I hear you, brother. I feel the same frustration. So
Yeah.
all right. Next up is Tyler Lockett, wide receiver for the Seahawks. He's had 7 games with 10 or less fantasy points. So yeah, just another dud season,
Yeah.
man. Just
Yep.
not quite working out. I think he's kind of in the same situation as Jackson as far as just poor quarterback play.
Yeah.
I think that in the way that their quarterback is playing this season, he can support maybe one wide receiver, and that's DK Metcalf.
And he's
So
barely supporting him.
yeah,
DK Metcalf, he had a pissed me off week too. So,
hmm
like, I don't know, man. That offense does not look good.
no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're. I mean, they're another like. If you look at their record and say like contender or pretender, they're definitely pretenders.
Yeah,
To even have as
exactly.
decent a record as they got.
Yeah,
You
right
know.
there with the Steelers, Like,
Hmm.
how are these
Yep.
teams 7-4?
Yeah.
They look
Exactly.
every bit of a 4-7 team, and they're 7 and
Hmm.
4.
Yeah. Yeah. The ball just happened to bounce the right way for them in a few of those games, but yeah, they're not going to go anywhere. So
Yeah.
no. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Who else you got?
Man, I'm done. That is what
You
I've
all done?
got.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I just wanted to kind of talk about a couple of these tight ends. I've been bouncing back and forth between Jake Ferguson for the Cowboys. He's had 6 games with single digit. Logan Thomas with the Redskins, 8 games under 10 points. And so yeah, I mean both those guys are just hit or miss. I don't
Yeah.
know, man. I just can't count on them.
Nope.
And then also,
Nope.
no, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, man, like, both of them have talent, but
Mm-hmm.
I just think there's too many options on both teams, and it's just tough to get the ball to everybody. Either
Yeah.
Brandon Cooks has a good game, or Ferguson has a good game, or
Mm-hmm.
um, Curtis Samuel, Dodson, Scary Terry has a
Mm-hmm.
good game, or Logan
Yep.
Thomas. Logan Thomas, I feel like, has the more of a downside than Ferguson does. But
Yeah.
but I agree, man. It's hard to call it. Like, you're putting that tight end out there, going, well, I might get 4, I might get
Yep.
14.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so hard to call.
Yeah.
I'm with you,
I
man.
know, man. Yeah, inconsistent, man. Just
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I think that more than 50% of their games they've just delivered under 10 points, and so
yeah,
that's just not reliable. So
yep,
too many mouths to feed. I think you called it, bro, on both
yeah,
those teams. Too many mouths to feed. All right, just got 2 more to go. Javonte Williams, running back for the Broncos. He's had 7 single-digit SAM games for me, and only 3 double-digit games. And of those 3 double digits, only one was over 20 points. And so if you got a fantasy running back that you're counting on, and he only gives you 3 double-digit games, and of those three, only one were over 20. That's just not somebody you have confidence in putting out
Absolutely
there
not.
on the field. So
I agree.
Yep. And then last one is James Conner, running back for the Cardinals, having a down season.
Yeah, it really
The
is,
past,
man.
yeah, the past 5 games, single-digit points. So yeah, just not getting it done.
Yeah, I don't
Not
know what
getting it
happened to
done.
that offensive line in
Hmm.
Arizona. Like he had a really strong year last year, and it just seems like
Yeah.
nobody's producing there. So I don't know if they had some turnover on the offensive line or what happened there, man. But he's not working out. New running back comes in. What's his name? DeMarco. Whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Dude,
DeMercado. Yeah.
DeMarcado. They ran Dobbs out of town. Kyler Murray's running for his life. Like it's just that offensive line sucks, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, it does.
yeah, it's hard to count on Connor now with that line.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, just don't have no confidence starting him.
yep,
So yeah. I mean, I was having a tough time this week deciding among the running backs to start. I'm glad I went with Kyron Williams. He
hell
blew
yeah,
up, and then Henry was pretty solid. He got me,
yeah, good
2
call on that one.
touchdowns. That
Yep,
was a good one.
you
And then I
called
was
that.
deciding between Pacheco and Swift, and I went Swift for some
Ugh,
reason. But he had a
yeah,
down game. I should have gone Pacheco, but hey,
yeah,
what
yeah,
can you do?
yep. Hey, can't call them all, brother, but
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Got 2 out of
pretty
3.
good ones. Yeah, for sure.
So, yep.
Yeah,
Well,
cool.
all right, brother.
All right, brother.
Good talking to you, my man, and
Yeah,
good luck in your fantasy matchup Thursday and next weekend. And we'll be back at it next Monday night.
sounds good, brother. All right, man. Good luck on the waiver wire.
Okay, brother. You too.
All right, cool.
Peace.
See ya.